a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hello, everyone. With me today is my friend Raylene Mumford. Welcome to have you here. Welcome. That's not what I meant to say. Forget that part. Anyway, so many of you here probably, at least in the area, probably know Raylene or know what she does. And for those of you who don't, that's what she's here to talk about, something that's very important to her, right?
Mm-hmm, very important.
And that's about the free, what's it called? Free store?
Chilliwack Free Store.
Chilliwack Free Store. Now, there was a location at one time, wasn't there?
We did have a location previously where we were using one of their buildings, but we have now moved off location and currently are borrowing spaces of another agency while we plan to build our own store.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, it should be. It's pretty exciting.
So let's backtrack a little bit. So when did this all start?
So I started the store back in August of 2021, and I should say I started it with my good friend Stuart. So we were running a bit of food supported initiatives and helping some elders and some of the folks that were kind of coming through, you know, the residual effect of COVID, and there was flooding and fires. And so we found that we made some partnerships with some extra supplies. We want to know if I was able to hand them out to other communities. And I just said to Stuart, we should do that. And he said, sounds good.
That was a really good idea, because I know that even here, we were given some food like from like DoorDash or those types of things, because they had all of this produce that you couldn't get rid of.
Yeah.
Right. Or bags of, you know, that we had, you could buy a bag of everything was in there except maybe the meat you needed. So that was really great. But now my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's mostly for First Nations that you help out.
We have always helped out like any kind of demographic that struggles the most. It has always been, originally we were serving, the majority was First Nations communities, and then we opened the door to all folks that were struggling. So originally we started off helping kind of our neighboring First Nations communities and a lot of our elders who would be hard to access. We did have some really great people on our team who would deliver to them and help with them, and that was really, really great. And then we kind of opened the doors, so it was never meant for one community. I had made personal connections and contacts with Costco and Save-Ons and all these places, and so I was lucky enough to do that, and then lucky enough to make personal contacts where people would bring their excess things. And it was never intended for one community, so it was meant to share out. And so
wherever you found a need,
and we have found a need for sure.
So now I know that I've seen the posts, and sometimes and when I do, I share them, because I think it's really great for people to know, right? So do you always have people that are able to pick up items and take to people who can't get out?
No, so we don't normally. We have we rotate through right now 386 families.
Okay.
There's more need than that, but we have to try and rotate them so it's fair. Our volunteers who have been with us since day one are really, really incredible. They will drop off on their way out. I've dropped off many. All of my counterparts that volunteer with me, we all volunteer, have dropped off. So we don't necessarily have an advance to the point where we're going to be having consistent delivery. However, we are applying for some new grants currently that will be helping to hopefully supplement that and help fill kind of a greater need.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's surprising to me how many people out there are in need of food, right? Many people. Like we think about Canada as an affluent country with all of this money, you know, so where's it all going that there are people that still don't get what they need?
I think in a lot of cases, we don't really understand the full need. So I think that was the same thing when the studies came out a few years ago about chronic homelessness and homelessness. People keep forgetting that if you're couch surfing, you're also homeless or without shelter. And I think we tend to we're so busy and we just kind of keep going that we don't realize a lot of other people do really great food initiatives in town too. And they do recognize the need for elders and seniors. And I think a lot of times with that generation, they don't often speak about poverty or that they don't have enough food. So we don't notice them as much, unfortunately, although I think all folks are trying to as much as possible. And I think we just don't, with all the things going on, I think we kind of live a bit in the more like the micro and we don't really notice the need. But it's pretty real. It's a pretty big problem for sure.
So Okay, so now how many families did you say you help out?
Over 300 families in general.
Mhm.
On the weekends, we feed about 194 to 216 people.
So there's a facility where they can go?
They don't go to a facility anymore for shopping, although that will be coming.
No, I meant, sorry, for feeding.
No, they pick up hampers.
I see.
So currently what we do is we build hampers. So most of our food is like we like to stay away from like non-perishables as much as possible, although we absolutely accept them. But we try and give them the folks foods that they may not be able to access. So they all get 3 to 6 meats. They get fruit and vegetables, breads, those kind of pieces.
Mhm.
There is, of course, unperishables, and those are very valuable to everyone. Peanut butter is tuna, all the things.
Yes.
We try and like disperse it out so everyone gets kind of, so it's kind of exciting and interesting. And if you have kids, you know, they're excited and interested. So
Sure. Yeah, every once in a while they see something that they
yeah, a little treat.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think most people like peanut butter. Most kids like peanut butter.
Yeah,
right?
but a lot of them like Oreo cake too. So sometimes when there's
Oreo cake.
sometimes we get Oreo. I know.
Oh my gosh.
It's delicious. So.
I've never had one. Jeez, that
Oh.
sounds wonderful. I think I'm in need of a cake.
You might need an Oreo cake. Don't be afraid. I might drop one off. You never know.
Don't get me started. I'm a chocoholic, actually.
Oh, I love chocolate.
But anyway, sorry. But anyway, okay, initially, like of all of those 300 people, how did you find out who needed things?
So we do have a Chilliwack free store page on Facebook,
Mhm.
and our website is just about to go up pretty quick here, things like that. So I think what happens is if you're in a lot of circles of people, like I'm in a circle with you and
Yeah.
with a lot of other great people, Cody Chance, a lot of people I'm friends with will say, hey, you know what, I have a neighbor who looks like they haven't been, you know, eating well, or we keep going over and helping. Or we have other agencies reach out and say we have people that they've exhausted our services,
Mhm.
and we want to help them more, but they also have criteria. So we all kind of try and share people in a way that we try and see. So an example is this morning on one of our local Facebook pages, one of our Chilliwack food store members tagged me in a post for a lady who needed food and had posted literally that she needed food, and they tagged me, and so I checked our list, and sure enough, she hadn't had food from us since beginning of September. So
Right.
I'll let her know today, you're going to make the list this weekend. We'll get you a hamper and help you out. So it's kind of word of mouth.
Okay.
That Chilliwack free store page, we have 3,000 new members in 9 weeks.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So I think the word is out.
Yeah.
And people are just kind of, and it's not just people who need food, it's people like you and other people who are just curious how to help. And just want to help people in need, right?
I think because like here, sometimes what people, they don't need an item, they've got too much of it and they'll put it on like in our mailroom and any of us can take it, you know, or I have friends, or a person who has a fig tree and, you know, she'll give us a bunch of figs or whatever. And sometimes that's more than we could use.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that there's places like where we could call you or whatever, and say, hey, listen, we have these items, could you use them?
Oh, absolutely. Right? I think a lot of people too, I posted and Alyssa, she helps support and my daughter's there, she's helping too. And I think we have I'm trying to think, we have Stuart, Will, and Clint. So we have a group of us that have, and our little one that helps.
Very nice.
She might be the hardest worker. And so we all are there, but we always post like when people have extra stuff in their pantry. I think the reason why the Chilliwack free store has become so popular is people see the transparency. Like people can come by, people know me pretty much on a face basis, and they know that the food or anything that they donate goes directly to people, and they can see that. And I think that's what helps people go, oh, I've got extra stuff in my pantry, and a little goes a long way. Yeah,
for sure. And you know, and personally, I think that's more important than help give it to somebody that you know where it's going to go, rather than, I think a lot of these charities are wonderful, but you don't know where everything's going, especially when it's finances, because you know, a lot of the top people get paid, and you guys do it, as you said.
We do it 100% free. So everything we do is free. So our first 12 months, I need to be interested about this. We, with personal, so we don't take funds or money. We never have.
Right.
I always tell people, they'll say, can I give a donation? And I'll say, can you purchase food for that? And so just because we don't want to have any of that extra additional, we have so much going on. We have so many foods to unpack. Food is easier for us to distribute. Although we appreciate it, food just makes it easier.
Sure.
And it spreads a long way, right?
Yeah.
So I think what people don't realize is with store donations and and personal private donations of people bringing in their furniture and clothes and stuff. In our first 12 months, we gave out $629,000 worth of food and supplies,
Oh, my goodness.
and we served 72,000 people.
Wow.
So
That's tremendous.
yes, thank you. Incredible team.
Yeah,
Incredible team. We have incredible donators. We have a good friend we don't get to see her as much, Julie, and a bunch of other people who have donated time and services, and we've done Christmas events and all kinds of events. And I think people don't realize how much actually goes out.
Yeah.
And it was
They
all
wouldn't-
done.
yeah.
No, and I think also when you talked about a lot of great charities, there are a lot of great charities. I think when you get to be part of something and you can reach out to the person directly,
Yeah.
it just makes you feel good. Like it's what we all want, which is a small town, big town,
Yes.
like closeness.
Yeah, I remember years ago, it made me think of something. Years ago, I was living in Ontario, and we decided to have a bingo night, and everybody had to bring a non-perishable.
Hmm.
And that we filled a basket, and then we also went to were able to get buy a turkey, because I guess it was close to Christmas, whatever. And we gave it through the Salvation Army, but we wanted to go to a family that had children, so we bought some kids' toys, and so we made the whole. So it was just something that a group of women did,
Yeah.
you know, just for fun. So it's easy enough, right? And it didn't cost any of us a lot of money.
No, it's almost like everyone runs kind of, and I like to see it as kind of their own versions of the free store.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're the Chilliwack free store for sure. But I do love the neighborhood vibe. Like when I hear stories like yours, that makes me happy. When I hear about the fig tree, or I hear about the
Yeah.
apartment kind of coming together, it's all these kind of like little communities amongst the community. And I think that's what makes a Chilliwack free store special,
Yeah.
is we're all kind of like a misfit island family who we fight like siblings. We definitely fight like siblings, but we really do come together to help each other. And a lot of our volunteers started because they actually were short of food as well.
Okay.
So that was their way to come and give some time and then get a box of food for their family.
Wow, and give it
And-
back at the same
Yeah,
time.
and they stayed. And so, and we're all staying for the long haul. And
Right.
it's been over 2 years now. So I don't suspect we're going anywhere anytime soon.
Excellent. So at this point now, what are your goals?
So our goals are to work with some of the, we have had some informal conversations with Ken the mayor, and a few other people who are really also interested in building something bigger.
Mhm.
My hopes is in the next year, we have some serious conversations at the table about what that would look like to open a formal building for the free store. My preference is zero barrier, of course, as I will always be. So when you pick up food, we don't do ID, we don't
Right,
do
okay, yeah,
we don't do anything formal. I just feel like it, for services I understand, for us, it feels invasive for me. So our hope is to build a formal building and get more grants and have our volunteer staff work there and others, and just make it bigger and bigger. My goal on a personal level, I've built the food model, so I've been really lucky, and I work with an incredible woman named Sukhinder and her team. But what I'm hoping to do is to take that model to other countries and other places and open up free stores internationally eventually with whoever on my team wants to come, and I'm sure a lot of them will.
yeah.
And just kind of really, it's not really a teaching moment, more like a learning moment for me to see what other countries and places are doing, and just kind of be able to be like lucky enough to get that information and work with cool people and just see what we can do to help chip away on structural and systemic poverty.
And one of the things I like, you mentioned your children, and I think it's so important to get your children, and not yours specifically, but everybody, to get their children involved, to see what it's like, you know, to be able to, how good it feels, actually, to be helping somebody.
I do agree. I think we'd be surprised how many kids in high school and elementary and middle school don't actually have enough food either.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really positive way to see there could be solutions of sharing.
Yeah.
We did go out to, I think it's Greendale Elementary, to one of the really awesome, they're all awesome, but they invited us and they had grown some extra vegetables for us.
Wow.
And then we shared in the hampers, which was well received.
Wow.
And I think it just shows how like a little bit does a lot.
Yeah.
And can make it a really good, you can feel good about doing very minimal support.
And that made me another thing I just thought of when you said they're growing the extra vegetables. Like a lot of people have their own little gardens, and sometimes there's more than they need. So this would be a really great idea for them to get in touch with you, right? Hey, listen, we have all these potatoes, we can only use so much or whatever, don't have storage. I mean, that would be wonderful, because I know I used to have my own home, and I always had extra, which I shared with my neighbors, you know, my family and my neighbors, right? So that's really great.
We get We got some gardeners from Ryder Lake and up in Promontory who brought some lovely squash. I don't know how people are growing vegetables so beautifully.
I love squash.
Because I love the growing, but mine do not look like the TV commercial that was brought to me.
Well, no.
Beautiful, beautiful vegetables. And then we had a lovely lady harvest a ton of potatoes with her team for us. And just spaces like that, I just think it just gives such a cozy, it just makes it feel less scary for people, I think, in a lot of ways, when you can be intimate and you can just kind of have a cup of coffee and talk about things and realize that we're all trying to help each other and we're all trying to get there and we're all just learning. And I just kind of like that intimate vibe. I like the doesn't matter the size of the city.
Yeah.
I like everyone knowing that they matter. If they eat matters to me. I know it matters to many people. For me personally, it matters if people eat.
Of course.
It matters that we acknowledge them and that they exist. And if they didn't exist, it would matter. All those kind of philosophies. So I guess that's probably why I think all of the sharing makes sense too.
And I like the fact that you said, well, if they come in, you're not worried about IDing anybody and you're just taking it at face value. They need something, whatever it is food wise, then they're welcome to come and get it, right?
I have people all the time say to me, they'll send me people and say, this person doesn't need food and this person does. And I always appreciate people trying to help support, but it's really not my business. My business is if you are humbling enough and you want, and you need the food, I'm not here to, police that per se.
Yeah.
You're telling me you need bread and meat and fruit and vegetables. I'm taking that for face value, right? I wouldn't want to have that done to me.
I know it would be terrible. And we don't know why people who maybe don't need it go, and maybe it's just to make a connection.
I think it's, I think, to be honest, I think one of the things that are really overlooked, and I've been doing a lot of reviews on this, and I've been working on a really good, you'll see soon our survey coming up. We just did 600 surveys on poverty, and we're about to do another 600 more. So I'm gonna hope you'll share it out. Poverty, what I think people don't understand, is actually terrifying. And so the reason why people stock up or they come and they don't need to, it's because they're scared inside about the response, right? And there's things we call like new poverty, and there's things I coin as new poverty, and I coin as kind of like the poverty where you've grown up with the whole life, so you're not panicking. Women have a really good way to network among women, so they have less of the fear than the men have. Men have a lot of times, at least this is my experience, a lot of anger and temper comes up. It's a panic. And it's because it's a new fear, and poverty is scary. So I think that's why people collect food is they're like, well, just in case. I think it's great to connect, but I think they're also afraid of being so close to poverty.
Yeah, for sure.
What would happen if?
I have this unreasonable fear of running out of toilet paper. I grew up in a time where we didn't have toilet paper. We used to catalog, and I would never want to go back to those days because catalogs are not made the same anymore anyway. But so I always have to make sure, and it's I'm not the only one. It's a family issue, I'm pretty sure.
I think it's ingrained. I think, and so that, and you speak about that, and it makes sense. And you came from like a time and a home and a place where those kind of things were. I grew up in a home that didn't have a lot of food, that really didn't have a lot of anything. I mean, we had a family, and that was great, and everything else, but we did really lack in the same things that a lot of people do today. And I think unless you've experienced that, it's harder to understand the kind of impulse need to hoard toilet paper or whatever. Yes. And if that puts someone at peace and it's not a burden, then I think that's a good thing. But I do think a lot of families go through that.
Absolutely. Anyway, I think if we've covered everything.
I do think that.
Oh, great. That's really cool. Well,
I think we've covered everything.
All right. So this is, by the way, you've been listening to Raylene Mumford, and if you can help out, in any way, whether it's, I don't know if you still need volunteers, or you're always welcome.
They're always welcome to reach out. We'll need them around the holiday season. We always do. We'll be doing extra hampers and those things, and they can always reach out on our Chilliwack Free Store page, or they can reach out to you and you can connect us as usual. I also, before we end, I just want to say that everyone knows you're lovely, and I think you don't get to hear that enough, that you are an awesome human and care about the social issues, and that's why I'm here today. I don't normally come out for interviews because I just feel really uncomfortable normally. But just so you know, you are valuable.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now I'm all embarrassed. Anyway, thanks for watching the show, everybody. I hope you continue to do so. And if you can help out, I have to say, I'll say this over and over again. When you help somebody, it's a win-win. Okay, makes them feel good and makes you feel good for helping. So what more can I add? So there you go, folks. Take care and peace out.
a sense of community. Chilliwack's a place to be, a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.